Hello, my name is Anouschka Langlois, and today I'm going to agree that nuclear weapons is a huge business. All of us remind the attack by the United States of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Today, some governments still using these weapons of mass destruction as a dissuasive tools against other governments. So first of all, we will see that the last 10 years, $1 trillion has been spent for the armament in nuclear weaponry of only 9 countries. It's a huge amount of money. So in today's argumentation, we are going to see, first of all, the country which use nuclear weapons. After that, the country trying to acquire nuclear weapons with the case of Iran, the company involved in the trade of nuclear weapons, the opposition group, and we're going to conclude. So first of all, we will see which country dispose of the mass destruction arm of nuclear weapons. So there is a few countries reparted around the world. First of all, UK, USA, France, Israel, but also Russia, China, India, Pakistan, and North Korea. So what are the main dates of nuclear weapon history to understand a bit well how does it work and why some countries still having this weaponry. So first of all, in 1942, it was the Manhattan Project. It was the first conception of nuclear weapons by the United States. After that, some countries developed their nuclear weaponry as URSS during the Cold War, but also UK, France, etc. After that, the United Nations tried to make a non-proliferation treaty and disarmament. After, it was the SALT and START Accord. It was accord to reduce the nuclear arsenal of United States, but also URSS during the Cold War and at the end of the Cold War. After that, and the last huge date of nuclear weapon history is in 2017, when United Nations ratified the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. After that, it's prohibited to develop nuclear weapons if you have not the authorization to have it, like if you are not in the country that we said before, and you can't do test and you can develop your nuclear arsenal. So here we can see the horizontal nuclear proliferation. So after the Cold War, there was a stop in the proliferation of the nuclear arsenal because of accords were signed and the world decided that this weapon of mass destruction can be very dangerous and can lead to a lot of death. So no, it's forbidden. After, in the other graphic, we can see the spending in nuclear weaponry by each country. The first one is obviously the United States, which has the bigger nuclear arsenal, followed by Russia and China. After that, the European country and the non-Western country have also big expenditure in military spending, but also in nuclear weaponry. So next, we are gonna see which are the countries trying to acquire nuclear weaponry. So these countries are situated all around the world because of every country want to have this tool of dissuasion. We cannot have a list of this country because, like it's forbidden, when they try to acquire nuclear weapon, they didn't told it to other nations, so we don't know which country are trying now to acquire nuclear weaponry because internationally it's very forbidden. But we can study the case of Iran. So Iran had a hidden volunteer to acquire nuclear weapons since a lot of time and since the invasion in Iraq by the United States. After that, we saw that Iran was producing enriched uranium, and this is useful in one part for civilian use, like nuclear development of energy, but also for nuclear weaponry. This country has signed few treaties, and for example, one of them is the Biological Weapons Convention. And with this treaty, they are supposed to stop the production or the research about enriched uranium. And they also use religion as excuses. You know that Iran is a Muslim country, and they are not supposed to use weapons of mass destruction. But we all know that finally it doesn't matter a lot. After that, in 2014, a nuclear arm control report say that Iran can produce enough energy to build nuclear weapons. That it's a very big problem because, like I said before, nuclear weaponry production is not forbidden if you are not one of the 9 states that dispose of this arm. So what did happen? The UN Council asked Iran to stop its nuclear enrichment program, and if not, they will have international sanction by the UN, but by the United States also. So today there is no proof and no international proof that Iran is using enriched uranium to build a nuclear weapon arsenal. But some doubts persist, and some international relations specialists say that they are doing it even if international community asks them to stop. So today we are gonna see what companies are involved in the production of nuclear weaponry. And it's your main argument because of we are seeing why nuclear weaponry still a business. So there is few categories of company involved in the nuclear weaponry production. First of all, there is obviously the defense company. The bigger one is the Northrop Grumman. And after that, you can see here in my PowerPoint the list of few companies that are the huger and the more implicated. Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, but we can also see companies that we use all the time when we are traveling, like Boeing or Airbus. After that, if we focus on the United States, which is the place in where the most arsenal nuclear is produced, we can see that there is also firms that run the nuclear complex and the nuclear plants in the United States, like Honeywell, etc. The problem here is that these firms do not only produce defense or military products, or they do not only protect the plant of nuclear weaponry. They also sell other things. For example, if we take the case of Boeing, they are selling also a plane, and it can be a problem for customer because of not everybody want to contribute to the nuclear weaponry armament. So why is a huge business? We can see that each company earns at least 106 billion per year to build nuclear weapons. It's a huge amount of money, and they are very lucrative. After that, there is a citation that says the 10 corporations we see as key players in the nuclear weapons industry reported spending nearly 71 million on lobbying in 2014. It's a big amount of money, and we can see that when it comes to lobbying, it used to come with illegal business, and this also say that 24 million is spent in congressional candidates. So we can see that this company use lobby to make more businesses, but also political candidates. After that, we are gonna see the opposition group. We see before that nuclear weaponry is a big business, many actors are involved, and a lot of money. But there is also opposition group. So the main argument of these groups is that developing nuclear weapons is very dangerous. Like we saw with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it can lead to a thousand of deaths. and it had already been used in the past by the United States. After that, the main argument, and it's the more focused on the international discussion about nuclear weaponry, is that this budget allocated to nuclear weaponry can be allocated to resolve other international problems, such as, for example, hunger, public fund, health, if we take the case of COVID-19, and all this big problem in international relation. So this opposition group that fight against nuclear weapons are different. Even if there is a lot of actors involved in the development, there is a lot of opposition group too. So there is a different region of the world which banish the nuclear weaponry, like Latin America, South Pacific, Southeast Asia, and Africa, but also few companies like Ben & Jerry ice cream, politics, some US senator, City Council, City of New York, and the City of Toronto in Canada take off their public fund to the nuclear weaponry. And there is, of course, Peer Volunteer Activist Coalition, ICANN, that is the main campaign to abolish nuclear weaponry. And some scientists, the person who started producing nuclear bomb, Sakharov and Einstein. Everybody know Einstein, and it was against the nuclear weaponry of states. So to conclude, we have seen that the nation is divided on nuclear weapon question. In one part, a lot of nations have this tool as dissuasive tool and use it when it comes to international conflict. Other nations are not very interested in acquiring this weapon of mass destruction. Meanwhile, other one like Iran try by hidden processes to acquire this weapon of mass destruction. It's very difficult to ban nuclear weapons, but subvention can be cutted like the City of New York or Toronto did. Nuclear weapons is a huge business. It's controlled by state and by few companies which use a lot of processes to gain money, and it's a huge problem. These weapons are very dangerous because they can lead to a lot of death. And what can we do as citizens if we want to ban this mass destruction weapon? We can sign petition, participate to manifestation, and telling your friends and your relatives that it's not good to subvention companies which are involved in the production of mass destruction weapons. And I'm gonna conclude this argument by the argument that we can question your role as a civilization. It is really useful for us to build mass destruction weapons that can lead to thousands of deaths. We are not able to use diplomacy as dissuasive tools. I'm gonna leave you with this question. Thank you for listening and have a good afternoon.